when I think we're live anyway.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I see live.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. Hey, everyone. Okay, it says that we're live streaming, so let's just assume that we're live streaming, and then I'm going to hunt it down and see if we actually are or not. But let's just assume that we are and get started. Hey, Susheela, I'm so happy that you are here joining me in the love seat. It's Morna Haist here, coming to you live from, I was about to say the beautiful West, it is beautiful. It's beautiful on the west coast of British Columbia today. It's getting close to nighttime for us folks on the west coast, right? The sun's going down and I've lit a few candles and I'm so excited to be joined by you, my dear. Would you like to tell us where you are tuning in from while I check that this broadcast is actually live, because I'm not seeing us anywhere on Facebook right now. Yes, we are live. Okay,
perfect.
Awesome.
Okay,
right,
sweet.
Yeah. Really live. So
welcome.
Business Activator. I am so thrilled to be having this chat with you today. So let's just kick off and tell us a little bit about the idea of being a divine feminist business activator and a little bit about who you are and where you are and anything you want to share to kick us off.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, and it's just such a pleasure to be here with you. Yeah, so when it comes to, being a divine feminine business activator, I guess the place for me to really start is to, so I have some very special abilities, intuitive abilities, where I can go beyond the five senses and go right and really tap into someone's subconscious and really see like what their divine blueprint is, like what are their gifts, what are they here to truly bring into the world.
Did you just say divine blueprint?
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it. I love
it. So I'm able to really tap into that and help, one is like help illuminate what those gifts are for someone, but also beyond that, I get visions of what those structures look like in terms of taking those gifts and offering it to the world. And I can I can literally channel, and I literally do channel business information and and business strategy for women primarily, and I'm really in this path of that business does not need to be hard. It doesn't mean that there's no effort, but it just does not need to be hard, that we can truly surrender and be in flow and create from a space of flow to experience prosperity and to experience aliveness in the sharing of our gifts. Typically people come to me when they're looking for that spark of what's next in my world and in my work, and especially when they've been trying things and it hasn't been working and they've been wondering why it's not working. Usually I can kind of cut right to the chase and see what's been out of alignment, that's been halting the manifestations that they've really been desiring. So that's a little bit of that.
That's amazing. That's beautiful and amazing. And I just want to say hi to the women we have joining us. I can see Shuhada is here and Hara is here. I don't know why I want to pronounce your name Hara, but it's probably Hara, Alison. Do you know how? Is it?
Hara is a friend. We always have discussions about the pronunciation of her
name. which is kind of ironic, because my name is Morna, but in my accent you can't hear the R. So often, because I'm living in North America, I have to translate it for folks to Morna so that they can hear it, but then I go back to Morna. So I don't know why I have this. I don't know why I have this obsession with Hara. Hi, Henrietta. We've got more H's joining us. It's wonderful to see you ladies here. Yeah, please please let us know what resonates for you in our conversation, what you're hearing, and just the feeling you get from us being together. You know, Susheela you know, you just have this powerful presence, Susheela, and way around you that kind of magnetized me to you instantly. And so, you know, it's really cute. Like, we met online, which is the 2020. It's the 2020 way to meet people, right? At an online event rather than in person. And then Susheela's recently journeyed from her home city of Toronto to come and join us out here on the BC, on the coast here in BC. So tell us a little bit about that journey and that transition in your life, and what's drawn you to this place, and what's up?
Yeah, well, honestly, what's up? For the past, you know, when I was living in Toronto, I was just, for a few years, I just had a feeling that truly wasn't where I was meant to stay. But I didn't know where I was going. So anyway, and this year is so funny. So my guides, how I channel my guides, are like, give up your apartment and move back in with your father. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? So literally just about a month before lockdown, I packed up all my stuff and returned home. And then quarantine happened. And I was like, okay, I think I see the wisdom in this. And then June rolled around, and I was like, well, I don't want to be here anymore. I'd like to, you know, move out. But every time I had this thought of moving out into Toronto, I was like, I have no desire. It just does not inspire me. And then I literally got a vision of British Columbia, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And so Cole's Notes version is, I packed up my stuff, came here with one check-in bag and a backpack, and Airbnb'd it for 6 weeks-ish to see how I felt down here and see if this was, you know, truly a place that felt like home. And it did, in a way I never anticipated it to have that experience, and found an apartment, and here I am. It's been now, I want to say, is it like 4 months? Oh my God, it's going to be 4 months. It's going to be 4 months since I've been here in BC. And it's been incredibly challenging, as well as stunningly beautiful. Like, it's just been it's been such a
describing life path. Right there. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, and I'm really grateful to be here. It's just the energy here for me is just absolutely divine, and I'm surrounded by so many divine goddesses out here, like Morna, and Henrietta's also watching this, and Henrietta as well. So that's been a real blessing.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. I'm, I guess, relatively new to the coast, back in Canada for the second time with my Canadian husband and a little Canadian family. And I've also lived in Toronto. That was the first place we lived in Canada many years ago. And the West Coast has such a different vibe to it. I feel so much more connection here, and yeah, I just love the atmosphere of the West Coast. And as you were talking, you know, I was curious about what you said about it being beautiful and challenging. And I know you and I have had lots of conversations about this, because that's, I mean, for me, that's really how I've come to think of my life. It's pretty much always a tale of two cities happening at the same time. It's the best of times and the worst of times. And it's never one or the other, or if it is, it's, you know, it's not for too long. And so I've been really tuning into, and I'm really curious about your thoughts on this, about how we hold these two realities as truth. And, you know, because I know it can be tempting to, I guess, kind of, maybe, I want to use the word hide in one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was actually really reflecting on this today as I was busy painting my apartment. I'm in an experience that's quite challenging at the moment, and I had this moment today where I remember when, I was really depressed a couple of years ago, and like my business just didn't go the way I was planning it to go, and my mother had just recently passed, so I was experiencing the grief of her loss, and it just felt like I just kind of collapsed into myself. And I remember it was so funny. I was actually watching a movie, and I was watching X-Men, Days of Future Past. It was just
Classic.
so good. I was watching this scene where young Xavier was in conversation with the elder version of Xavier, and young Xavier, has the suit. He's basically like a super empath, right? And someone who can like feel what people are feeling, but like extra amplified. And what he's saying to the elder Xavier was that there's so much pain. I don't want these abilities. There's so much pain. There's so much pain. And the elder Xavier looked into his eyes back and said, don't, like, yes, there is pain, but yes, there is fear, but what is greater than fear is hope. And I remember when I just remember crying watching that, because I was like, because I was actually in a pretty dark space, and I was considering, there was definitely thoughts of ending my life at that time. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was, I've been through some stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, there's hope. I don't think I was created to give up. And today, as I've been kind of walking in, still remember that moment, as I'm walking in my own challenge right now, that's what came to me. I was like, I can be in a catastrophic space and kind of hold my breath and again fall into like a version of woe is me, or like kind of be in that darkness, or I can remember that there's always hope. And I think that for me is an anchor around the challenges, and also being able to appreciate what's beautiful. So yeah.
Right. Like, I firstly just want to offer some love, since we're in the love seat, and some tenderness. And I know we both need it today. Susheela and I were talking before we became live, before we went live, and just offering each other some tenderness. It's been a challenging week for both of us, and a challenging day with many things going on. And so I obviously love the idea of hope, and it's one of the ways of being that has really got me through so many challenging times in life. And also, as you said, for me, it's helped to magnify the beauty. It's helped me to experience the good things in my life at such a different level. And so I'm so grateful to have experienced, I think, the depth of pain, to be able to truly see and experience the depth of how beautiful and joyful and amazing life can also be. So, we also talked before this that neither of us were feeling in a particularly like, woo, kind of vibe before this call, and really just leaning into giving ourselves permission to show up in this way, to show up when neither of us are feeling, well, I don't know, in our 10 out of like whatever this is. Equally, I'm not horizontal either, but I don't want to pretend. You know, I want to be able to show up. And when you talk about, for me, when you talk about being a divine business, a divine feminine business activator, for me, these ways of being need to be on the table, right? Like we don't have to be smile lady, all of that crap. Like, you know, we can show up with all of our ways of being and hold space for all of it. And I think that's something that you so beautifully do. And I'm going to make an invitation to you. So let's just actually have a look and see what's happening in the chat. Shuhara, beautiful. She said, I love what you do, Susheela, and I can relate to a lot of the things you just said. I'm always prompted by this voice or feeling in my heart to do things. Yeah. Totally. And Henrietta says West Coast vibes. and Hara's just pointing out the obvious, which is that you are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Inside and out. And, you know, I just, from a feminine point of view, and without making this actually a masculine or a female trait.
Right, yes.
Right, this, I know for me that my work in the world is an expression of stewarding something that's bigger than me, that's moving through me, that's coming from, you know, maybe a different place, that, and connecting to that is so vital for me in my expression in the world, and to be aligned. And it's not something that we talk about that much. Well, actually, that's not true. I talk about it all the time. You talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
And yet I think it's often something that's missing in the broader business conversation, or certainly through maybe more of a patriarchal lens. It doesn't bring this holistic view into it. But I think that as females, just to make it a gender thing, more often than not, like, we're working from a purpose that is much bigger than ourselves. So I've just said a lot. What does that bring up for you?
So if we're talking about like kind of working from alignment being kind of the central kind of theme. So yeah, I mean, I'll even just, you know, I'll just share kind of where I am in my own journey. So there's this part of me right now that's like, and we had this conversation yesterday where I was like, I should be, like, I feel like I should, like, a lot of shoulding myself yesterday. I was like, I should be working on my, like, I should be launching the programs and doing the things, because like that, but it's all I want to do is I want to paint my apartment. It just feels like I need to paint my apartment. Like that's the thing for me right now. And serving my clients or making those calls, but like, and it's, and from like a outside, like from a patriarchal lens, or let's say, you know, like, it's like, yeah, like, why aren't you sitting down in front of your computer 9 to 5 and pulling out the things and doing the things? And it's funny because I know so many people who do all the things, and yet I'm still, and yet I, or some, like, I'm probably doing, maybe doing better in my, like, I don't want to, okay, I'll just, I don't want to, like, I'm like, oh, I don't, I have this thing about, but like I'm actually doing better than in my business, like, and I work like half the time or even less than that. And I just follow my flow. And what's been interesting is, like, as I've been painting my apartment, what I've been noticing is, like, my energy has been raising, and I'm actually feeling myself prepare to, like, I don't know, it's like raising my energy so that in the time of when I need to go full on, I can fully be there, because that's the thing. So it's interesting. Like, I know I'm not explaining it super well, but for me, that's kind of how my experience of alignment is, where it's like when you follow that inner nudge versus the thing that you think you should be doing. Because it can be really, and for me, that's alignment, when you're following that inner sense of what, because I mean, I think we live in this paradigm where we kind of separate ourselves from our business, like as though our business is like here and then we're over here. but actually our bigness is part of our bigger ecosystem. It's part of our whole selves. Like it's not that we are our work. It's not that, but but because typically I think, at least as sole proprietors for sure, our businesses are our expression of ourselves. And so what we do in one area of our life is going to be connected to what occurs in our business. So when we're coming from that space of, when we're following that knowing, that intuition, which comes through from our divine blueprints, which comes through our natural flow, we are doing the thing. So that's at least I'm using that to illustrate alignment for me.
Thank you, and you did beautifully illustrate it. And I've been pondering this, and I'm just going to ponder this for a couple of minutes, because we do have a little surprise for you, which is I'm going to invite Susheela to play some music for us in a moment. So just drop in that. I've been thinking about this recently through the lens of patriarchy and patriarchal systems and the way we've constructed the world. And one of the lenses I've been thinking through, firstly, I will say that my bathtub is my second office, for sure. And I know I need to give myself that space to receive what I need to receive in terms of messages, and that I can't type my way through it if I, fix myself to my computer. It's just simply not how it works for me. And so, I count that just as equally as work time, because it's work time, right? And not in a nose to the grindstone kind of way, because I'm in the bath after all. But I was thinking about how we value, how we place value on things, and how sort of more of a more traditional capitalist and a more traditional patriarchal view says that lying in the bath has no value. Looking after my children has no value. Cleaning my house has no value. Having coffee with you has no value unless we're discussing business or making some kind of transaction. How we've constructed value as a modern society kind of sucks. And so if I'm true to my kind of revolutionary views around how the world could or should be constructed, if I personally value the time I spend with my children or the time I'm in my bath as much as I value the things that make me money, then what I'm leaning into is that maybe 5 hours a week, I'm trying to let go of my belief system around needing to work really hard to make money, is what I'm kind of the punchline I'm getting to. Because when I have that point of view, it's like, okay, well, if I value a 40, 50, 60-hour week, but then I'm saying that I value my family, my health, my environment, my everything else in an equal measure, then I need to rearrange the amount of time it takes me to make that money and get used to the idea of making all of the money I need in a day a week or 2 days a week, So I don't know whether any of that made sense. That's a little paradigm thing that I'm working on in terms of how we construct value around our lives and how we make money. Yeah, and it can definitely happen in the bath. Okay, so so Susheela, would you be able to play some sound for us?
And absolutely.
So could you share with us maybe a little bit around how you got into sound healing work and how you use it in your business?
Absolutely.
And your life.
Yes.
And life.
So when I was young, I used to sing in choir and all that stuff, and then I kind of just stopped. And I think it was like last year, I was actually accompanying one of my friends to a funeral because I didn't want her to go by herself, and she was really upset. And I sang. I don't know. I just had this compelling feeling to sing for her, and I did. And she started crying, and she was like, "That was like the most beautiful thing ever. Like you have like the voice of an angel. Like you need to be on stage. Like you need to be sharing it. And she used to be quite exposed to the music industry, so I knew she wasn't just, you know,
blowing the smoke.
Blowing the smoke. That's what I wanted to say. And I've always had such a love for the arts, but I think I just never imagined the arts being like to have that idea of having that be a part of my life in any way. And so, because it's not very, let's say, it's not typically valued in my culture, even though we're full of, it's really interesting. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, so back in January, I was in LA, and just through a series of serendipitous events, I met 2 vocal coaches at an event I was at. I sang for one of them. She's like, "You're amazing." We ended up working together for 6 months, and then I started just doing. And she said that whenever I would sing, like it's like her energy would shift, and I started doing this, sharing my voice more and more, just to friends, and everyone would be like, "Yeah, you like, wow, like just I didn't expect that to come out of you," and so then I was like, okay, so there's something here, and that's how I started with the journey of sound healing. Yeah, and in terms of my work, I use it to really help shift people's energy, because I work very intuitively. I do a lot of energy healing as part of it, but now I just do it through my voice. And what I find is it just really, first of all, it calms people's nervous system, substantively, and then also it'll just start shifting people's energy, helping move stuck emotions, or gives people's vision. So everyone has very different experiences of it, but I offer it when I feel called to offer it in my sessions. And if someone specifically wants to do a sound healing session with me, like I'm open to that, but usually I just incorporate it into the work I do, both as a divine feminine business activator, but I also do a lot of work around helping people with grief and life transformation as well. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate that, because, you know, just briefly, as we were talking before, this can be limiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
sense making from this point of view. And, you know, I know for me, I had a beautiful experience with Susheela in her home celebrating Diwali the other night, and you whipped out your flute, and
Yes.
And here's me, my little Pākehā in New Zealand. I was expecting like the flute that I played in orchestra, which is like silver and has all the things, and
yeah.
You brought out this beautiful Indian flute. Does it have a name, or is it just a flute? Does it have a...
So we call it the Carnatic flute. Carnatic meaning like that's South Indian music. So different regions of India have different forms of music or different styles of music. So I play like South Indian, which is my ancestry, which is from southern India. Yeah.
It was beautiful, and my experience was almost otherworldly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to invite you to offer some sound to us as we,
sure.
I guess, to kind of play us out, really. Not that
so
I'm going to like end you, but
no, that's cool. So yeah. So what I think I'll do is I'll play a little bit of my flute, and then maybe I'll sing a little bit. I'll just kind of flow for a little bit. I'll just play little bits because I know like our time is closing. So I'll just flow. But yeah, I play like I have the flute and my voice, I have a drum, and then I also have a singing bowl. So we'll see what happens.
I just want to invite you to do whatever you feel inspired to do, and don't worry about the time. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. Thank you. My pleasure.
Mm. Mm. I feel like I don't want to fill the space with words other than to say thank you so much for joining us today. It was so beautiful to talk with you and to be in your energy and for you to share your gifts with us in this way is
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. That was the love seat. I'm feeling very tender, my dear. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say in closing?
Just my absolute gratitude for giving me some space today to share and to just express and offer what's here for me and for the world.
Thank you, my dear Susheela. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye. Okay, actually now I have to figure out how to not be live anymore. Maybe if I just end this video, it will stop being live. And then you want to jump back on Zoom?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye everyone.